What is up, everybody? Thank you all so much for stopping by this video. If you're new here, my name is David Martin. I'm a 23-year-old personal trainer, and of course I'm very passionate about exercise physiology and optimizing nutrition for performance. So in today's video, I want to talk about how I structured my nutrition for my first powerlifting meet. If you're not a powerlifter, I would still stick around for this video because you're going to find some good information about how to fuel yourself for your workouts. So the sources I used for this video are the ISSN position stand for nutrient timing, a 2015 study by Nippard and colleagues called Hydration and Fluid Restriction in Athletes, Optimizing Physical Performance During Dietary Restriction, the 2010 ISSN Caffeine and Performance study, and a book that, if you're interested in this stuff and you haven't checked it out yet, it's by Jeff Nippard called The Ultimate Guide to Body Recomposition. Very good book. It basically condensed everything I learned in college down to like 250 pages. So check that out if you haven't. And let's get into it. So let's talk hydration. In Jeff's book, he recommends 1 milliliter of water per kilocalorie consumed. So I typically consume around 3,000 kilocalories. That translates to about 3,000 milliliters of fluid, which is approximately 100 fluid ounces. Now, a lot of people, they'll shoot to get 128 ounces or a gallon of water a day, so this really isn't that hard to follow. But it's also important to note that a lot of people at powerlifting meets, you'll see them consuming those carbohydrate solutions such as Gatorade, Pedialyte. For me, why did my Alexa just light up? Alexa, stop! And I think it's important to note that a lot of people consume those electrolyte type beverages because they're depleted from maybe a water cut, but I was super light in weigh-ins. However, the night before, I decided to eat some week-old Thanksgiving leftovers that made me puke, so I was a little bit dehydrated, which is why I was sipping on Pedialyte and Gatorade throughout the day. Overall, I would recommend those electrolyte solutions just to keep you hydrated because performance does noticeably decrease when you're dehydrated. Now let's talk about the most important macronutrient for the day, carbohydrates. The ISSN position stand that I mentioned earlier recommends that endogenous glycogen stores are maximized by following a high carbohydrate diet of 8 to 12 grams per kilogram of body weight per day. Or for more rapid fueling, you could follow 1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight per hour, which I'll talk about how I kind of practically implemented these guidelines into my own meal selection. And for the meat, because I was so light, I wanted to try to get 1 gram per kilogram of body weight of carbohydrate, so approximately 100 grams. I wanted to do 0.45 to 0.75 grams per kilogram of protein, and then 0 to 20 grams of fat. What did that look like? For me, I had 85 grams of oatmeal, 100 grams of banana, a scoop of Optimum Nutrition Hydro Whey, which is like 30 grams of protein, and then 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. So overall, with a simple and complex carbohydrate, it allows you to get a nice, even distribution of energy. And then the fat can also slow the digestion and absorption of carbohydrate. So I did that to kind of give me a buffer to make breakfast count toward my energy supplies before squats. As I was editing this video, I realized I didn't really discuss my carbohydrate options throughout the day, so here's some clips from my meet and I'll talk about that. So I didn't really have an appetite for solid foods, but I did rely on liquids like Gatorade, and I did have a sweet potato just to fuel myself throughout the meet, but I felt like it was important to talk about my food choices for meet day. I think the next important thing to consider is caffeine. The ISSN recommends 3 to 8 milligrams per kilogram of body weight for caffeine, and I fell about in the middle of that spectrum. I had a scoop of pre-workout, which was about 200 to 250 milligrams of caffeine, and then I had 2 of those Monster 0-calorie energy drinks in between squats and bench and deadlift. So I get the pretty solid intake of caffeine throughout the day. Of course, I wouldn't recommend this to everyone on a daily basis. You need to know what your caffeine tolerances are. Don't try caffeine for the first time before a meet, because the last thing you want to do is overdo it on caffeine and be in the bathroom. Now let's talk about the 2 macronutrients of lesser importance, those being protein and fat. Protein, while it's super important, isn't the most important on meet day because it's not going to correlate directly to your performance on that day. So, I did have protein shakes throughout the day to keep myself satiated, but I would most generally try to consume that typical, 0.45 to 0.75 grams per kilogram of body weight sort of throughout your meet and throughout your day as a whole. Maybe have a higher protein meal after your deadlifts are done, of course, but don't worry about it too much during the meet. And then, like I said, with fats, they can actually delay the absorption and digestion of carbohydrates, so I would try to lay off the fats during the meet. So to wrap up this video, I'll just give you guys a quick schedule of how I structured my eating throughout meet day. At 7 o'clock, when I woke up, I had that oatmeal with peanut butter, protein powder, and banana in it. And then after I got to the meet, after the athletes meeting, I started sipping on Gatorade, sipped on that throughout the day. I had my pre-workout before squats. I had a Monster after squats before bench, and another one after bench and before deadlifts. I had a Rice Krispie treat between every main lift, not every attempt, however, and then I had a sweet potato in between bench and deadlift. Guys, I hope this helps you structure your own powerlifting meet day nutrition. If there's anything that I can help with, drop a comment below. If you'd like to see more content like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you guys in the next one.